All right, we're set. Keep going. You're good?
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you. And hello to all our readers and viewers out there for the third day of the Boston Poetry Marathon 2020. My name is Christina Strong, if you don't know that. And our technical host is, for this hour, the great and wonderful Bridget. Thank you very much. I wanted to say one PSA first. We do this we've done this in their chats. Also, Suzanne Mercury and Christina Liu. But just want to say that we're all human and we're all doing our best. And we hope that all of you are doing as well as possible. So there you go. So I also said our organizers are Christina Liu and Susanna Mercury and Bridget Eileen. And thanks to the organizers and volunteers, which are Tom Daly, Tim Gager, Gilmore Tammy, Joe Elliott, Douglas Rothschild, and especially to Chad Parenteau, who is helping out in a big major way and helped out with Carol Weston, and that was pretty awesome. We're streaming live to our Facebook page at Boston Poetry Marathon, the Twitter, the Periscope stuff, both Boston Poetry Mara, and the YouTube channel, which you should all know by now. And if you're confused and not watching this at all, it's the bostonpoetrymarathon.wordpress.com/watch. So this year, we're raising money for Black Lives Matter and racial justice because we don't have a physical home this year. Our donations are going to Sister Fires Rhode Island and the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts. It's free, but you could donate $10 or even more. And not only that, while you're at it, if you got your credit card out, you could donate to anyone local that you know. That's awesome. We're doing great on that. All that. So social media, tag us, comment, say nice things, old photos, find us on Twitter, Facebook, and all that kind of stuff. There you go on that. So our readers have only 5 minutes. I'm going to send you a chat when you're done for a minute and send you another one for 30 seconds. I'll be timing them as much as I possibly can. So keep your chat open. And yeah, what else? If you have technical stuff, please let us know in the chat. What else? We want to get going. Okay, so I'm going to introduce the readers of the hour. And when I say your name, I'm going to read all of you right now. And when I say your name, give a hi and we can have a sound check. So where's all my peoples? There we go. So Stephen, I see you first.
Hi.
Excellent. Alyssa?
Hello.
Hello. Keith?
Hello.
Hello. Lisa?
Hello.
Hello. Suzanne, I know you sound awesome. Christina, I know you sound awesome too.
I'm going to mute.
Heather?
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Chad is on mute. Hello.
Chad, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah. All right,
there we
Annie,
go.
though. Okay,
My
there you
bad.
go. Bad. Annie?
Hey.
There you go. Richard?
Hi.
Excellent,
Hi,
excellent. Hang on a second. All right, so now that we're going to start the reading, if you could all mute yourselves, and the first reader will unmute themselves, and our first reader is Chad Parenteau.
Thank you all very much. It's a great pleasure to be here, a great honor. I'm so glad that people are making this still happen. I'm so glad we were able to get Carol Weston on last night to read. I'm going to be as brief as possible to give you an idea of my selection. I'm an essential worker. I'm not a doctor, but I do work in a VA hospital. So I'm a misanthrope who's been denied my greatest opportunity to be a shut-in. Someone's going to pay. I'm going to do what's become a sad annual tradition of reading my Donald Trump Jesus poem. I wrote one on the eve of what I prayed wouldn't be his election. I've written one ever since each anniversary of his election. This is Donald Trump Jesus, chapter 4. Donald Trump Jesus feeds the pride-hungry masses with 2 tanks and a flyover. Donald Trump Jesus says the Virgin Mary is not his type. Donald Trump Jesus asks those without sin to lend him their stones. Donald Trump Jesus wants a bigger table for the Last Supper. Donald Trump Jesus gives medals of honor to all his disciples. Donald Trump Jesus denies all of them. Cocks crow themselves hoarse. Donald Trump Jesus says one of them is a traitor with zero credibility. Donald Trump Jesus trusts no one but him to put in the nails. I've been doing a lot of erasure poems over at headlinepoetryandpress.com. The editor Hawkins is amazing, and a lot of them are based on his speeches, which are an hour and a half long. This one is not one of them. This is called Over With, which is based on a Boston Herald story on a shutdown protest, not wearing masks. Over with. Protesters chanting "End now." Remove individuals to pandemic, standing people, few masks, many carried virus, some wore hats. People keep saying, I don't want my families. Jeffrey Cooner warned virus king, demonstration promoted, non-essential health, pandemic closer, more people in public, flame emblazoned people. This one was published in Boston Literary Review earlier this year. It's called Be Your Own Literary Hero. Ignore, ignore, ignore. Forsake even mirror. Shave according to reflection of sexting roommate in room behind you. Dictate life's work in packed theaters during burlesque shows to person next to you, watching for slipped pasties and not taking dictation. Save your manuscript to be read in one sitting at your funeral casket in a long line of people making sure you're dead. Have coroner prop hands to hold the book before setting fire to pages, which should also be blank. And I've been doing a series of poems online called Stone Soup Croutons. The Stone Soup Poetry Reading Series has been going on since the pandemic online without fail. And this is my last poem. It's called Be Your Own Effigy. Your biology post-love is a bus slamming into your bystanding body. Girlfriend steps out. She came all this way to break up with you. You've nodded your way through enough nurses to know you're screwed. Your heart whipped by flowers you bought to mark this day. Doomed as a two-party system, as a relieving rainfall in Miami. Too long your heart's been worn in your hair. You definitely forgot. Your view of happiness she sees as a warm gun, which can make her happy. Death kneel tune toots, tuba, your face woodcut, carved, if not careful. You'll look like Jane Eyre's husband, burnt, blinded, stumped, a perfect partner. Thanks again. Let the show go on.
Thank you, Chad, very much. That was awesome. Next up is Keith Jones.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so honored to be here and lift my voice with all of the other wonderful, wondrous voices today. And so grateful for all of the, those who may have made this possible. So I'll be reading a sequence of poems from a new manuscript called Limbs of Earth, a few poems of which will be appearing in Flag and Void. I hope this week or soon. Thought space I myself have made, this threshold. I work where the gravity was torn, loft arc, down lash, sky pierce. You ask me to pretend the larger braid, oracle wind blue that is water. Parable in the grass, picnic basket, cottonwoods rifled, wind-tossed clouds, I'm cusp, my daughter, circle and sphere atop a boat. We'd spent a day on earth, bayed the white oak, the hour hand, chased our birth and portal of your laugh, sparkles, sharp-blown peonies, fuchsia apart, deep canyon blue between petals, cerulean, now ink. Abuela, smile at me and you become a dove, aisles of mother's eyes, inside squint through, losses glare, skies asylum and orphan son, stitch by stitch, sending for your family. Yet somehow what I held was not her, but the island she came from. Stolen Genesis on her lips, Jesus medallion at her neck, lace of Spanish words, forever at her hem, rich port, seams stressed in the flatlands, faint gold Buick on the 101. Suddenly, I dance in place while children play. I mean my own involvement, Ouroboros, porous, thin-faced, bright melancholia's bird lore, doors and windows, abierto. Your clarity, saintly, terse, and I, a limb. Waves of black shadows and quietude, watch where my looking is. I want to risk the forest ahead, waterway besides to rival, and always the wound inside. They mirage her, the Hollywood Hills. I've tried to kill that world so many times. I tire. Mirror, not mirror, but emblem. You spent your whole life hiding with the hunted, hoisted up bags for them to reach beyond highways of long night. Nightcraft in the sea dark of time. The moon went missing in the back room. Woven thing, sheet pierced, bird lathe, sea loam, cloven child, wound bone, and darkened hood turning, hands, needle, threadbare light. Hot bright matter, the wasteland crests, urgent, but wastrel. The grazing lands, then the way asphalt pours crows from a liquid urn, lipped into line and raked, till their wings are the things we glide on, the machine's horrible roar, their obsidian cry. I carry a knife into my dream, moments when mirage lifts, worlds quiet, late afternoon ride to the ruins, bamboo flute and medicine of moss, white birch, jay's lone feather. The storm you held my hand to die in, you roll down the window, bare zone of the void, continents aflame, Arctic calving, I see the dream recur. Glance frame, star gust, and you, lone, bereft bird, empress of interstates. I bird bond the bone in you, liquid. We sing, we swim, me, and the I wave carries your face, half a mental image, the other an eddy we fell into, killing machines at dawn. For our witnesses, blue hands and blue feet walking beside territories, walking astride bickering terrain, ancestors flash, sunlit teeth. I, a daughter who was always a daughter. Does she stray on open air? We who are always late, paper mache, our place of healing. The rain had to make a choice. In many ways, it already happened. Baskets of fish, home goods bundled in air, stunning life to claim, happenstance without permission, drift of my love, alone in the lone of the theater, what I had hoped to have my thinking touch. In a time of
Hi, sorry, yeah, no, I can let you go on forever, but I'm sorry. No, but thank you, Keith Jones.
Sorry,
no,
I thought that's what I had it at. Sorry, my bad.
Nope, we're all bad. No, but thank you very much. No, I'm bad too. All right, next up is Alyssa Mazzarella. Yes, are you ready?
Hi, everyone.
Awesome.
Thanks so much to the organizers for putting this together and for keeping us all going when we can't be together. I know it's like a very huge production to put this on, so I'm very grateful for everyone being here and for reading. The piece that I'm going to share today is an excerpt from a much longer lyric piece that I'm working on. The framework of it is that I'm sort of writing to somebody who I knew in my life, who owned a farm stand in my town. And the piece largely revolves around violence to women and motherhood and other themes related to that. So here's the excerpt. It's called Dear Jane. The things I liked the most were small. The hush of the willow's fronds in the breeze, the gravel ground beneath the tires of your navy blue F-150, the sweetness of yellow peaches wafting through the hut, silver corn silk matted in the broom I used to sweep the hardwood floor. That little life of yours, which I was allowed to inhabit a corner of. Sometimes you kept the CB radio on in your kitchen. I wondered what you were listening for. And I wonder now if the voices crackling through the speaker were just some presents to fill your empty home. The only other noise, the grandfather clock ticking. I had a visitor there once, a friend, a boy. He brought me stargazer lilies. He had wanted to cheer me up. I had gotten drunk for the first time and kissed someone who wasn't my boyfriend. I don't remember the rest of that night. The girl who hosted the party held her palms at her temples in the morning. They dragged a hose into the living room to clean up. I was sick with worry, counted down the days until my boyfriend would come back from a family trip and I'd confess my misdeeds. I had confided in my friend. And then I blushed as he stood in front of your farm stand, bouquet clutched in his hand. A week later, while we sat on his couch and watched MTV, he put his arm around my waist and slipped his hand into my skirt. We never hung out again. I'd been giddy and ashamed by his visit to your stand, that sacred space away from my fraught teenage life. I wanted to make you proud. You handed me $35 each day from your cash box and gave me a raise each year. I knew you couldn't afford that, but you gave it anyway. I can see how you orbited your unspoken pain. You churned it in rows of saplings, drove away from it on trips to the wholesale market in Hartford before sunup. You and my dad reminisced about Burnham's, a family farm where my dad picked tomatoes and corn as a kid. He swears he remembers you, sorting through tomatoes to put in crates, tossing the bruised and puckered ones. I'm curious who you were then, if it was before or after you gave up your son. I was hungover for 2 days after that night I blacked out. The morning after, my body was diminished. I pushed my knee with my hand to put enough pressure on the gas pedal to drive home. I didn't pull over. I didn't call home. You thought I was a good kid, and I wanted to be that in whatever way I could. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. That was awesome. You mentioned something about Hartford and Burnham's, and that sounded very familiar to me because I'm from there as well. So thank you. Next up, we have Stephen Riel. Oh, excellent. Good. You've unmuted yourself. Excellent. So,
Hi,
got
everyone.
it.
Thank you to the organizers for doing all the work and for inviting me to this wonderful event. The poem I'm going to read is in 4 parts. It's called Abel Has Almost No Immune System. 1. The red footnote on the label of the miracle drug catches my eye. Abel's in the 33% who vomit up nearly every bite. Mom and Dad told me he sobbed on the long distance call before a catheter was tunneled between his clavicle and first rib so he could feed through his subclavian. Other clinical words collide into Eden after pancreatitis, toxoplasmosis, after Abel's insurance company couldn't drop kick him fast enough. His lover works late hours to cover their mortgage. Wouldn't you? I borrow shekels to board the shuttle to their condo. Abel lies upstairs, starving. Just levering his bony 99 pounds into the bathtub hurts us both. After another 24 hours, when anyone else less gone would have moaned, "I'm hungry," the feeding machine arrives. Aqua plastic box, like a vacuum cleaner, gleaming steel caddy, plastic tubes, plastic bags of almost fluorescent white nourishment. Welcome to the family. A nurse swings by to run through instructions as intricate as life. 1, interlocking joints. 2, kept sterile with alcohol wipes. 3, spill into Abel's core. "Oh, that feels cool," he murmurs. This mission is a booby trap when each step must be followed to the iota to foil microbes. Is it possible to be precisely prophylactic forever and ever? And what if someone sleepy and or absent-minded stumbles through second shift? How to gauge a turn for the worse? I am my brother's keeper. 2. Yes, my name is Cain, and I'm calling about Abel. Yes, I do have his patient ID. I want to see the bill the home health company submitted, the 3D pie charts accounting blazoned at board meetings to extol how much moolah was pinched by discharging declining policyholders into the land of Nod. For the criminal trial, our lawyers subpoena this quarter's financials, issue interrogatories to establish bloated profits the LLC diversified, how many day spas it spawned east of Eden, how many golf courses begat among thistle and thorn. 3, all evidence will be offered to Adonai. 4, I am the wobbly tiller in Abel's bedroom, who now must remain steady. With rigid fingers, I hold the survival of my first rival, whose birth introduced me to the murderous scythe I swing inside. This vigil will last days, only hours, in fact. Unto dust thou shalt return. His sleek alarm clock sweeps silently on while I scribble lists of specialists, lay siege to another helpline's moat. Abel has no drawbridge, 1 or 2 white cells left to rouse. 1 slip, 1 contaminated swipe. If only I could kneel beside his bed and believe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen Riel. That was great and perfect timing as well. Because yeah, but no, that was great. I wish I could say more about people, but we have to keep going. Annie Wan is up next. There she is. Hi.
Hello from Israel. Okay. The education will be televised. The education will be delivered to a black screen or a blue screen or green screen. The education will be broadcast live from street side, 70% alcohol, cocktails, 6 feet apart, spread your arms wide. The education will be very side-eye. The education will be masked, save a clear covering over the mouth, which is not like tape because the mouth can move. As you can see, this is freedom of speech, freedom of teeth. The education will be spoken, telecast, live streamed, recorded, and advertised to your neighbor, your little brother, and all your ex-girlfriends. The education will clear capsule your body in plastic to save your body from all the other bodies until it is time. The education will not be turned off. The education demands listening through a hole through your right ear. The education spares no one. Listen in the security of your own home. Barnacle to the leg of your favorite mother who was pouring a little wine. The education is like fine dining. You eat so much, it is so good, you are very alone. If you're lucky, you can cry. The education wishes you would think differently. The education requires you to shave your own head. The education requires you to clean the spaces between your teeth. The education requires daily push-ups. The education will take no volunteers. The education finds us dying every single day. It keeps happening. Like an ad we see, continuing to die, we forget the education will not be paid. The education will not be incentivized. The education requires mandatory license fees. The education cannot decide who will die for the sake of education. The education is of two opinions. One is freedom of choice. The other is wrong. The stakes, like life and death, are very low or simply a little ill. When the world is ill, where are the people? We the people. We the United States of ill. Stated by the CDC as certifiably defining concern. The education finds it questionable to call your doctor. The education does not die until you break your computer. You do not die until you break your computer. But there is no actual way to die because the education continues to be televised. Thank you.
Yay, thank you very much. I would like it if you could send that to me. I like to read that sometime. But yes, anyway, we have to go on. But thank you, Annie Wan. Next up is Lisa DeSiro.
Thank you. I'm going to read, I think I'll have time for 3 poems, and they are all new poems in regard to what's going on. Virus Villanelle. Coronavirus is a foe we can defeat. To do so, you must follow our commands. Don't touch your face, wash, sanitize, repeat. In public, wear a mask. Cross the street if people walk near you. We recommend you always keep a distance of 6 feet. No hugs or even elbow bumps. Only greet neighbors from afar. Do not shake hands. Don't touch each other. 20-second scrub. Repeat after us. We can no longer safely meet or gather. We'll see family and friends on screen instead. It's not an easy feat, we realize, and people have to eat and earn their living still. We understand. Please don't get touchy. Sanitize. Repeat these rules until they become obsolete someday when this pandemic finally ends. COVID-19 is a foe we will defeat. Don't lose your sanity. Wash again. Repeat. I've been writing some prose poems about weird dreams I'm having during quarantine, so this is one of them. My brother and I are visiting my father, and we go with him to the little local grocery store where we find a crowd of protesters standing outside, shouting signs, slogans, guns. We get past them, get in, and the place is full of people, most of them seniors, no one wearing masks or gloves, and I start to panic, and my brother is looking annoyed, but my father smiles, blithely pushing a cart through the narrow aisles. And I'm just gonna do one more that was early on. I found myself thinking about Ilya Kaminsky's book, Deaf Republic. And so this poem is inspired by that. His poem is called We Lived Happily During the War. We lived comfortably during the pandemic. And when they announced other people's losses, we protested, but it wasn't enough. We donated, but it wasn't enough. I stayed in my home. Around my home, America was dying. Terrible loss by terrible loss by terrible loss. I washed my hands indoors and watched TV. In the 4th month of an endless quarantine, in the land of plenty, in the suburbs of plenty, in the cities of plenty, in the country of plenty, our divided country of plenty, we, forgive us, lived comfortably during the pandemic. Thank you so much to the organizers, to all the participants, to everybody watching. Thank you. Stay safe, stay well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lisa. All right, next up is Heather Treseler.
Hi, thanks so much to all of you for being here and to the organizers for pulling this together despite the pandemic. I'm going to read 2 pandemic poems and then a poem from my new book. This first poem is called Sonnet. We wake, sing a little song of panic breakfast, then check the weather, clear the throat and wait for the latch of rasp or rattle. Scan the Tuesday street, naked of children. A stray woman leashed to her beagle, nervous for privacy or conversation. If we are not at home, we might poison the air. Yet all day we long for her salt smell, his clutch. Dry secret of an ancient despair, how we grow raw with untouch. This next one is Quarantine. Because I have not forgotten the ceremony of our nakedness, my hunger that begs the question. Because I woke in the early dark, thinking I was again a child, duplex wall echoing the neighbor's snore as some reprise of parents, heavy in their slumber, sighing out of sync with each other in an old wooden house of draft and splinter where we kept close and eyed one another in the theater called family, where acts are made to seem spontaneous, lines unrehearsed, plot cast by some fate or garage god, some latter-day method director who tied us like monkeys to a kitchen table or made the eldest drag for days a pot of ugly soup, a broken chair. I woke then fully and was 40, not a child packed in a tight cigarette box of white, fiery carcinogens. I wanted to call, to hear the carnal startle in your voice, to conjure your unstudied touch along my limbs in a warm bed meadow, not 100 odd miles and plague away. And I'll just read one short poem from my book that just came out as the world was shutting down. This is a poem called Call, and it's extremely rare to be born inside of a call. I wasn't myself, but I have a friend who was. You are 6 times more likely to be twice struck by lightning than born with an amniotic sac scarved about your head. Child of the veil, the old ones said, their old world membranes broken by necessity in New Canaan. Born in call, she is not holy or haunted, not friend to prophets or ghosts inherited, but stirred by life's bright brashness, its carousel sights that beg for sound. As on an afternoon in late October, the ochre light of famishing gold, a woman carries a harp across her back and turns to face traffic, her profile like a Wyeth in an aqueous meadow of Maine. She bears the instrument of her making, walks as if steered by its inaudible weight, what remains hidden in portage, the dearth before melody, the blind birth of song. Thanks so much.
Yay, thank you, Heather Treseler. Wrapping up, we have Richard Hoffman.
Hi, everybody.
There he is.
I'm very happy to be here. I wish we could all be together. I guess everyone says that, but then again, it's not every day you get to read in your pajamas. So I'm going to read 2 poems. This is called A Prayer for the Souls in Purgatory. I return from the future, a spy, and imagine myself, the old woman in the lawn chair in front of the apartment house on the corner, nylons rolled to her ankles, smoking a cigarette, watching. And then for a moment, I'm the aproned grocer picking over his produce in front of the store, hand cranking down the screeching awning to keep the hot sun off the cantaloupe, retrieving his short pencil from among the oranges and replacing it behind his ear. After that, I might become the cabbie at the taxi stand in mirrored sunglasses, his elbow sticking out the window, listening to WAEB. Or the letter carrier in his 8-pointed cap with his pockets full of dog biscuits. Because someone must have seen something. I'll turn myself into Sister Maria Elena, the 6th grade class before me. Or I'll make myself one or the other of the white-haired couple rocking on their front porch as the children pass on their way from school. I am looking for what the boy did just after what was done to him. When the cairn of his years toppled, when the stream of his days was diverted. But neither that place nor any of those people remain. Neither do I remember to whom I meant to report all this. Part 2. Someone must have heard something over the pipe organ, wobbling the cupped candles, shivering the skin on the holy water in the doorway fonts, over top 40 on transistors, above the deafening Harleys down Main or the sirens of the air raid drills. If he had cried out, that boy, would anyone have heard? He made certain no one could by never crying, ever. Part 3. Old, I continue to turn from oblivion for as long as I can, so long as there are births and birdsong, libraries to fathom, tempos that change significance. I forgive their inattention, not one of them from whom I would take untroubled dying. This is called They That Mourn. Blessed are they that remember, for them the muscle of the heart is twisted, looking as if it is turning away or trying to. And what it turns from is both particle and wave, emitted from past disaster, but illuminating nothing. Theirs is more than remains. And blessed are the angry, yet kind, that mourn the animals, that weep for the burning trees, that roar at the roaring flames, and worry few tears before were real as these, that turn the light out, let the night in, and contend with sorrow, that imagine what once they are gone, they might wish to have done, and in that darkness, begin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. And thank you, everyone, for the readers of this hour. Chad, Parenteau, Keith Jones.
Yeah, you can all unmute yourself and say
Yes.
goodbye. And I just want to say to Richard, especially, thank you for coming. And it's always an honor as a former student when your professors agree
I just love seeing you. Hello.
to be part of your projects. Thank you so much. Richard was my professor at one of the hardest times in my life, and he was the best person to have had. So. And thank you, everyone, for this hour.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for hosting.
Lisa, Stephen,
Wonderful.
Alyssa, Keith, yes.
Yeah, and you want to list off who's coming up in the next hour, Xtina?
Hopefully, we have Darren Black, Sherry Kaplan, Clay Fantry, Sawako Nakayasu, Melissa Christine Goodrum, Jennifer Martelli, Martha Collins, Kat Dossett, and hopefully Simeon Berry. And that'll be the next hour. And
thank you to everyone in this hour. And don't forget to donate at our fundraiser, bostonpoetrymarathon.wordpress.com/donate. Our fundraiser is doing really well, so we want to keep that momentum going. And stay safe, everybody. I'm going to stop the